Yancey Culp, tell us about Deka Atlas.
Deka Atlas, man, as we said, it's, let me back up. Since we started Deka, it's been for all levels of fitness. If we bring 1,000 random people off the street in any community across the world, about 99% of those people are going to find the Deka finish line. Some are just going to be a lot slower than others. And that was all by design. We wanted to create that globally recognized sport for all levels. Atlas is different. And I'm going to take you on a little journey here on the many reasons why Atlas is built the way it is. And I'll say it right out of the gate. One of the reasons is I want to give a tip of the cap to the gyms out there and the people in those gyms that have been training their ass off. In large part, the CrossFit world. I've always loved what CrossFit has done for us. They created arguably one of the largest fitness movements the world has ever freaking seen. They catch a ton of grief. And you and I both know if we walked into, I don't want to say this, I don't want to upset the apple cart, but if we stepped into 1,000 CrossFit gyms today, they are on average, they're simply going to be stronger and they're going to have damn good work engines. That's just a fact compared to the rest.
I just walked into Training Think Tank 2 days ago. Do you know that place?
No, I've never been in there.
It's okay. So it's Max Elhague, and he has trained a bunch of games athletes. Noah Olson, I think, is still there. Chandler's been there. Alexis Raptis is there. Just big names.
Gosh.
And I went in there and looked around, and I have no idea if some of these people were games athletes or just local folks, but I mean,
dude,
doing work.
I had the opportunity to train with Jacob Hepner all day one day years ago, and he was in his prime, and I'm like, that's one of the greatest to ever do it in the CrossFit space. He's like a top 20 all-timer, right? I had never just worked all day besides somebody like that, and it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I took Hepner through so much crazy shit at the Alpha Warrior Proving Grounds. I was building this crazy test, and we had been fucking going for like 4 hours. And Hepner's like, I got to go get my workout in now. And I'm like, that's what he said. And he was just like monkeying around. And then a few weeks later, we've got him in Tahoe, and he finishes the world championship beast with 0 obstacle failure. I'm like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. But long story short, getting back to CrossFit style gyms and any gyms out there that train like that, those gyms were around before CrossFit, but CrossFit made it famous and it leveled up. Deka Atlas is designed in a way, let's just put it out there the way it is. CrossFitters and athletes that train like CrossFitters and athletes that have a really good strength foundation and work engine, they're going to be able to bang their chest and say, most of the world can't do what I just did, and I did it, but we were extremely careful with the design. If those 95% of the people that can't do it right now, if they came to you and I, the coach, let's say Matt and Yancey, the coach, and said, can you train me for that? Abso-freaking-lutely. Most people, in let's say a 6-month macro cycle of training, they've got a handful of zones that are just like, I'm simply not strong enough to do that. That's going to be 95% of the world. They can train for it. So unlike a lot of the CrossFit stuff that's out there and a lot of competitions that are out there where you simply know that most likely for the rest of my life, all I can do is watch that from the couch, this is going to be different. This is designed in a way where right now 10% of the world can do it, but it's a test that just like that, every one of our affiliates and 99% of CrossFit boxes across the world, if they want to team with us, can start activating these Deka Atlas events where we have the shirts. We got, the difference is here is if you don't finish this, you don't get the freaking medal. If you're pulled off the course and you don't meet the time cap, that medal that sits there on the table and you don't take that Deka Atlas medal home with you, you bought a ticket, but it's like, dude, we'll get it next time. But long story short, CrossFit boxes, gyms like that want to bolt this on can do it. It's been designed in a way where you need, let me tell you what you need. You need a bar. What does one line of equipment look? You need a bar, you need dumbbells, you need a jump rope, and you need a dead ball or a sandbag. It's just heavy. Out of the gate, we take one of the most classic CrossFit movements of all time, 95-pound, 65-pound pound thrusters times 20. 90% of the world just can't do that.
Are we running first?
I think I've lost you. Are we still good?
Are we running first?
No, Deka Atlas out of the gate is just 10 zones. Aerobically, it's going to soul crush you. If you do not have a good work engine, you're not going to be able to do it. The time cap is 30 minutes, but I'll jump out and give you somebody. I've been testing it with a lot of people behind the scenes in multiple countries. Let's take a Lauren Weeks, for example. She's the fastest to do it so far. She's a very high-level CrossFitter.
So I want to give you the opportunity to give your why and give all that, but I want to also just give people what it is. So can we just go through the zones and then we go back and we can give more context. So out of the gate, thrusters, then what?
95-pound, 65-pound thrusters times 20. And then you kind of step back from the strength and you've got 20 burpee over bars using that exact same bar that you just used for your thrusters. Then you've got 20 surrender squats. A lot of people won't, or surrender lunges, I should say, where you're holding a weight. And look at this. You've probably never seen a surrender lunge, Matt.
I've not heard that word, surrender and lunge together.
I've got my 45-pound plate, or I've got my weight plate shoulder. You can shoulder it or you can bear hug it. You're going to step down. Both knees are going to touch the ground, and then you're going to step up out of it. It's just a good functional movement. It's just work. It's simple work. It's kind of a progression on our Deka Zone 1, the alternating reverse lunges. It's not something that a lot of people are going to fail.
What am I holding? How much am I holding?
45 pounds for the males, 35 pounds for the females.
Okay.
Again, you can do a lot of people will just do a weight plate bear hug. Then you've got dumbbell ground to overhead. CrossFitters will call it a single arm snatch. We're calling it ground to overhead because if you're strong enough, you can simply do that snatch for 50 pounds and 35 pounds. Extremely common in the CrossFit Open, CrossFit Games, 50 and 35 pounds. A lot of WODs will have that in there. If you need to kind of regress down to a clean and push press, you can. You just have to get that weight off the ground and get it above the head. Zone 5 is a complete mental and physical ass kicker. A lot of people will have not done this. It's a ground-based movement. It's bear crawl times 40 meters, and we're using a 5-meter down and back zone, so it's really convenient for the gyms. You don't need a lot of space. So imagine having a 50-pound dumbbell in each hand, and you're down in a bear crawl position, and you're bear crawling forward, so you're lifting and placing 5 meters down and back times 4 for 40 meters. Just trashes the core, ground-based animal movement, contralateral movement. I wanted something really contralateral from the ground.
The men and what for the women?
Yeah, 100 pounds total for the men, 50 on each side, 35 on each hand, 70 total for the female. And you talk to the Laurens and the Anthonys and other badasses that I've had across the world that I've had do it. It's like that one just slaps you right across the face. Again, something that a pretty decent amount of people percentage-wise will be able to do it. It's just going to take them a long time. And some people will just, you'll time cap if you can't keep working. We go to a basic sit-up next. It's 35 pounds and 20 pounds. It's going to look exactly like the sit-up that you see in Deka. It's just work. It's just core work. Zone 7.
How much weight? How much weight on the sit-ups?
35 pounds for the males, 20 pounds for the females, 9-kilo dead ball, med ball. Or you can use weight plates. Farmer's carry. This is when it gets real again. Males are farmers carrying 200 pounds, 100 pounds in each hand. Females are
how far are we going?
60 meters. So a picture of 5 meter down and back zone inside the gym. You're going to deadlift that weight 5 meters down and back. By rule book, you have to place it down. Deadlift it down and back. So in your 60 meters, you're going to do 6. You and I would do 6 200-pound deadlifts and 60 meters of total carry. So it's actually 2 movements in one.
So you rest it on each side?
You go down and back, and then you place it down. That's my way of working in 6 heavy deadlifts into the farmer's carry.
Okay. How many down and backs is that?
Down and back 6 times for a total of 60 meters.
Got it.
Again, we're using the 5-meter zone to make it a little more convenient for gyms.
I just worked up to, I got a 55 and a 50 in each hand. I started with the ones that we had, the Kmart 20 pounders, and I've slowly, borrowed from friends or gone to gym sales, and I just worked up to 55. So now you're asking me to work up to 100 in each hand?
Well, here's the deal. I believe.
Fuck yourself. I'm just kidding.
This is a lot of method of the madness went into this. I believe every grown man and grown woman should be able to deadlift 200 pounds and 140 pounds. If you can simply do the deadlift, you're 90% of the way there. You just got to be able to carry it a little bit. And then you get to rest the grip every time and redo that deadlift. So zone 8 is for you and I. We got imagine having a 50-pound dumbbell in each hand, and you've got shoulder to press. So you're going to clean it up the first time, and you're going to shoulder to press it 20 times. Most people are going to have to break that up, like a lot of these zones. Break it up.
How many?
20. Everything is 20 if it's a rep count.
Okay.
Don't ask me why I didn't do that with Deka in the past, but everything's 20.
You've confused a lot of people. I have my Deka workout at home. Yeah. And I still have to check my sheet every time. Is this 20 or is this 25? Is this 30 or is this 20?
You know why Jared and I did that is because we tested it so often. It was like, shit, 30's too many. 20's not enough. Got to be 25. We were all over the place. You know, sometimes you look back at things like, I might have done that a little differently if I had a chance.
Well, you can always reset. You can always next season say this is the new one. I mean, you don't have to stay the same forever.
Anyway, 20 shoulder to press, 100 pounds. So we're not screwing around there. A lot of people will do a push press. We like that movement. Zone 9, I really love. At first, because I've got about 15 CrossFit boxes that I've been spending hours and hours and hours on, and I want to give all of them a shout out. And a lot of people have helped me test this. We didn't have the old abandoned Kmart. It was Zoom calls and freaking Google Hangouts times 1,000. But jump rope, we're going to just single unders, 100 single unders. If you remember Tia Claire Toomey last year, she had fits with it in the games. It literally cost her a win. So the thing about jump rope single unders is every CrossFitter, the first time they walked into a CrossFit box, they started with single unders. That's what you start with, and then you advance to double unders, and it gives a little bit of a plyometric bounce, hop, a little bit, for the bone density and the balance coordination, a little bit of skill, but not too much. By this time, you're pretty wrecked, so a lot of people will have to break those up. Zone 10, really excited about zone 10. It's kind of the icing on the cake. So imagine that same 5-meter down and back zone, and you and I, we've got a 100-pound dead ball or sandbag on the ground. You got to get it shouldered, and then you're going to carry it 5 meters down and back. So now you're at 10 meters total, one shoulder. You're going to drop it behind the line. You got to pick it back up, carry it down and back, rinse and repeat for a total of 10 down and back. So you're going to lift it up to the shoulder 10 times along with your 100-meter carry. I've tested this thing 5 times, and I'm an old 52-year-old, but really strong and really fit. It just murders you. I'm doing it in 16 minutes. Talk a little bit about the time gaps. The best of the best, the Laurens and the Anthonys and a couple others that are very high-level CrossFitters over in the UK that have done it. You're going to see guys and girls in the 10 to 12-minute range if they're really, really badass. Kind of like Deka in the 30-minute range. You'll see some people crack 10 minutes in this case. I think Lauren, the second time she did it, maybe the third, she would crack 10. So 10 is going to kind of be that Roger Bannister mark for us. 30 is the time cap. 15, the reason why I did 30, because 15 is a really good time. If you do this in 15, you're really fit, and you got a really good strength foundation. So we basically doubled it. And the reason why people ask me all the time, Yancey, why are you going to put a time cap on this? Because we want to check 2 boxes. You got to be strong. But let's say you and I have that old offensive lineman buddy we played football with in high school, and he's 100 pounds overweight. He's still strong, but his engine sucks. He's not going to make the time cap. You have to also have a decent work engine to go with your strength foundation. And ultimately, the goal is to create a test where I want tens of thousands of people saying, I want to train for that. I want to train for that and create a.
Let me interrupt you really quickly.
Yeah.
Is this strictly gym events? Will this happen at fit events? How's this going to be unloaded? Yeah,
we're definitely going to walk before we run, kind of like when we unveiled teams, kind of like when we unveiled ruck, we unveil things, we will obviously get it rolling fast in the gym events. I know I've talked to a lot of our CrossFit boxes. They're super excited about it. You can set up.
So how soon you're having a call with your people on the 30th, right?
Mm-hmm.
What time is that call? So what time's that call, by the way?
Next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central.
Okay. So I could release it at say 2:30 p.m.?
Yeah, you have this ready to release after that call's
Perfect.
over.
That's what I'll do. So how soon before I can go into the website and register for one of these at my local
great question.
gym?
So right now we're working on you working on collateral. You know, you got to get your shirts and your medals and that kind of stuff rolling. So we're not going to allow them. They can start planning and scheming, but we won't allow anything to go on a calendar as far as date-wise is concerned until we know 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're going to have shirts and medals in the warehouse ready to roll out to them. So let's go with sometime early 2025 is when you will actually have, I can register for this February, March, April, whatever date, you know, so that allows our gyms in the November, December timeframe to start planning and, okay, our first event's going to be on this date. We will be giving them a date that says, okay, this is that we're 100% sure by this date, we will have medals and shirts ready to ship out to you.
All right. I'm putting this in my notes here. So you're having the call at 2 p.m. Eastern, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Can you, when we're done with this call, you just send me over just line by line what it is, like so I can start getting stuff, just like this many reps, this many pounds, and then I can make all my stuff, and then boom, I can drop it. I can drop posts, I can drop this podcast, I can drop a video. It'll be everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But again, yeah, we really want to. It's a tip of the cap, man. It's a tip of the cap to, you know, you take, like I said, the CrossFit gyms, and the gyms like CrossFit. There's a lot of gyms that train like that. It's very similar. And you just walk into those gyms, like the gym you walked into, and you're just like, oh, they're doing shit a little different in here. You know, they like if the shit was hitting the fan and I needed to go to a gym and pick some people to be on my freaking team, I'm going to those gyms. Those kind of gyms, they're simply going to have a higher percentage of people that can do this. And I kind of call it like the Peter Attia effect. It's like, you know, I want something where Peter Attia is like, whoa, I like what they're doing. That's getting more people rolling into their 40s, 50s, and 60s with more of a strength foundation. They don't have to be powerlifting strong. You don't have to be powerlifting strong to do this, but it's like we're getting people more healthy while also following very similar steps that we did with Deka. This is relatively low risk of injury. You don't have to have any high skill. You and I could take a farmer, a teacher, a nurse, a mom or a dad, a corporate executive, a military man or woman, anybody out there, policeman or firefighter. If they simply if they're just strong, good, not powerlifting strong, but good, well-rounded strength foundation, and they got a decent work engine, 100% of them will finish this. Some will just take a while longer. And that's saying, wait a second, man, again, bang the chest. I've taken care of myself. I've got a good strength foundation. I'm proud. I'm proud to take this medal home. And I'll be honest, like I said, I mean, I love that I'm getting ready to be able to go on. Well, I'm going on a podcast like this and say, freaking CrossFit, we love what you do. We love what you do. We love the movement you created. And I know you catch a lot of grief and it's a rough time for you right now. Dude, this is for you. It is for more than just you, but in a way, this is for you, CrossFit. This is our way of saying we freaking love you, dude. You did change the game. Real quick.
So in the spring, you'll start letting folks do this at gym events. And then, as I was saying, though, do you think it could be because obviously it's different. You're going to need a jump rope. You're going to need some other stuff. Will it eventually be done at fit events?
I think what you'll see, I want to say possibly, but I think what could be even bigger is a standalone. Remember how we had the Deka Fit Ultra World Cup last year? It was a standalone. You know, I
love Sunday, the idea. You mean? So if you do like a fit on a Saturday and like this on a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Like a standalone, like this might not be, it could be, but it might not be bolted on to the current Deka Strong, Deka Mile, Deka Fit World Championships. It could be a standalone, you know, perfect example. I talked to First Form yesterday. I freaking love those guys, by the way. If you've ever, you should get some of their people on. They are effing amazing. But I was like, listen, guys, imagine 10 lines of equipment and we put on a World Cup right there in St. Louis. That type of thinking where, you know, I don't want to compare it to like Wadapalooza or Granite Games, that kind of stuff, but this standalone event where it's just like everybody merges on and we throw down in the Deka Atlas arena, but in a kind of a different way. Some people will look at this as like, well, this is not the perfect optics-wise, good-looking optics test. again, we were very careful. Like I wanted this to be this strength, well-rounded strength test. I'm okay that it doesn't look like the perfect CrossFit WOD that would be thrown right into the games. I would never expect that. This is a little different. This is the bang the chest. I'm strong, and I get to show it off today.